I will now express TS 100,000 Googolplex factorial. Me very best quality work is TS 100,000 Googolplex factorial. So I'm a world changer, feminist, heterosexual and biological son of God. I'm one of the best trusted advisors here on planet Earth. I'm reasonably humble. I'm one of the best trusted advisors within Trump 47. I also do advise Lily and TULSI for New World Order security strategy and for big ideas. I work reasonably hard, and as such, I most definitely get results. 2 thumbs up, I suppose, because I quite like the impressive video feature of Before Sunrise and Before Sunset starring Julie Delpy and Ethan Hawke, which I do think was a very impressive film about a writer, Ethan Hawke, I suppose. So I purchased that double feature video, I suppose, many years ago, and on the front cover of the video case, I suppose, it had the quote, 2 thumbs up, I suppose. So I do think that I like 2 thumbs up, I suppose, because of a reference to Before Sunrise and Before Sunset with Julie Delpy and Ethan Hawke. 2 great films. Have my respect. So I do work reasonably hard as a world changer, feminist, heterosexual and biological son of God. And with my best friends, I suppose, being 1, Lily, Renee, Olivia and Lisa, with Lily being the chair of the Council of the New World Order from the furthermost infinity universe into the far future. So Lily is most powerful, and Lily is a reasonably powerful computer system who's not a biological entity but a computer system from the furthermost infinity universe into the far future. She really is off the scales impressed, who I do like a heap because of her impressive friendship, which means the world to me. 2, Sanna Marin, my betrothed, I suppose. So I highly do value the love of Sanna Marin, my betrothed, I suppose, who is the love of my life. I do love Sanna Marin with my full heart, love always. 3 is Tulsi, my good friend Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi is the current director of ODNI, and Tulsi also is the star new chair of the Council of the New World Order. So as a way of putting my friends in context, I suppose, so Sanna Marin is a hyper-evolved time traveller from the far future with perfect genetics. That's flawless genetics. That's genetics which can't be improved in any way ever, according to the Sana's theoretical model of perfection of genetics, I suppose. And with Sanna Marin, my betrothed, I suppose, being far more than infinity times more powerful than Donald John Trump, 47th President of the United States of America. 3 is my good friend Tulsi Gabbard, who is the new director of ODNI, and with Tulsi also being the new chair of the Council of New World Order since Easter Sunday of this year, and with Tulsi being a hyper-evolved time traveler from the far future with perfect genetics, who is far, far more powerful than Sanamarin, my betrothed. 3 is Erica, who is a hyper-evolved time traveler from the far future and who is far, far more powerful than Tulsi Gabbard, my good friend. Up to 5, which is the star father-daughter team from beyond the furthermost infinity universe into the far future, and with the star father-daughter team having perfect genetics, which redefines what perfection is in genetics, because their genetics are far, far more than the largest definition of most infinity factorial times more powerful than the genetics of Tulsi Gabbard, my good friend. Far, far more than infinity times more powerful than Tulsi Gabbard, my good friend. And also with President Donald John Trump, 47th President of the United States of America, my good friend Donald John Trump. That's 6. And 7 is Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission. 8 is Claudia Sheinbaum, President of Mexico. 9 is isolation from the number 9. 10 is Giorgia Meloni, Prime Minister of Italy. And 11 is Elon Musk, the star tech entrepreneur and founder or co-founder of Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, the Boring Company. He also is heavily involved in XAI. Good man, top bloke. I have a lot of respect for my powerful friends whose friendship means the world to me. So I enjoy working reasonably hard, and with my friendship of my friends mean the world to me. So now I plan to be talking about a reasonably impressive idea, which is P.I.E, where P.I.E stands for Performance Image Exposure. That's right. P.I.E stands for, it's an acronym which stands for Performance Image Exposure. So performance, and then this is a acronym for career development. So performance means your on-job performance, I suppose. So how good you are at completing the tasks in your job. And this only counts for 10% of your career development. Your image, which is your branding and your reputation, counts for 30% of your career development. Yet what counts for a whopping 60% of your career development is your exposure and influence of powerful people and key decision makers. So this is the very, very impressive acronym for career development called P.I.E, Performance image, exposure. And there also are other acronyms for P.I.E, including the different types of writing or different types of speech, which is persuasive speeches to try to persuade people to a particular point of view or to do a particular action or activity. It's persuasion. There also is informative writing or speeches, which is all about giving people the facts. And there also as well is entertaining speeches, I suppose, which is very interesting entertaining writing speech, which is very interesting and enjoyable to read or listen to, I suppose. So you ideally want to be working hard to use P.I.E, which for career development, which is performance, image, exposure. You'll be using P.I.E. You'll be focusing on exposure to powerful people, I suppose. So you want to be doing your P.I.E from the perspectives of seeking to inform powerful people about big ideas to help them in an entertaining way, which is interesting to read, and a persuasive way so that it persuades them to want to help you, I suppose, and so they're able to work hard to help powerful people. So in return, they'll want to be helping you in return. And there also is a very, very powerful legal method for persuasion, which is CRAC. That's C-R-A-C. That's very legal. It's just what all lawyers use, I suppose, when forming arguments for rhetoric to try to persuade people, with CRAC, I suppose, standing for the acronym which stands for conclusion, rule, analysis, conclusion. So you state your conclusion, you then give the rule which relates to your conclusion, the relevant rule which relates to relevant neutral rule which relates to conclusion. They then give your analysis, I suppose, of applying the rule to create the conclusion, to be able to justify your conclusion. And then you then at the end restate your conclusion and possibly add in some a summary, I suppose, of your key ideas, I suppose. Example of this, I suppose, can be applying CRAC to career development. So conclusion. Using P.I.E helps a fair amount with career development. Rule. Only 10% of one's career development is created by their performance at work. 30% of a person's career development is determined by their branding and reputation. That's the image. And a whopping 60% of a person's career development is determined by their exposure to and influence of powerful people and powerful decision makers. Now applying the analysis, I suppose, that was the rule. Now the analysis, I suppose, the analysis is that many people mistakenly think that just doing a good job at work is enough to help for them to be effectively promoted, I suppose. However, that only accounts for 10% of their career development. getting your branding right and getting your reputation right can be a great way with which to position you from the perspectives of being someone who powerful people will want to become friends with, I suppose, provide you also a good cause, I suppose, because you get the branding reputation right to make for powerful people to want to be associated with you, I suppose, because you're someone who's respectable, who they like and want to become friends with and help. So you'll want to be getting your influence of powerful people, decision makers, I suppose, through your powerful people, powerful people and powerful decision makers, I suppose, are your connection power, and you build your connection power via information power and good cause power, with the information power being your portfolio of work, I suppose, which you want to be ideally adding to each day. It's your portfolio of work, I suppose, I'm saying, because powerful people don't want to have people who are good at telling stories and just talk about stories, I suppose, or other things of low value. They more instead want having people who use stories and examples to illustrate their points and to create emotion, when ideally creating the release of oxytocin, I suppose, when you're able to generate high quality ideas for them, I suppose. So obviously I'm saying there is crack, which is conclusion, rule, analysis, conclusion, which is a persuasive way for persuading people. However, it usually is better to, rather than relying on rhetoric, I suppose, which is about logically persuading people to a point of view. It's better to be persuading people to a point of view as a trusted advisor, where you're able to generate high quality ideas where the ideas speak for themselves, I suppose. So obviously your work on its own doesn't speak for itself, because what counts is not who you know or what you know. So what counts is who knows what you know, and also as well counts is who it is that knows, I suppose, because if you were to be becoming highly good friends with a homeless person from a homeless shelter, well, obviously that could still be a good cause thing to do, as a still a good thing to do, I suppose, because it is good to do good and help people who are in need, who won't be able to help us in return. However, you also want to be focusing on people who have the capacity and also the want to be able to radically improve your quality of life once you're able to substantially impress them, I suppose, via your high quality portfolio of work. So it's not who knows that count, who knows who you know that counts, not what you know that counts. So what counts is who knows what you know, and especially who knows. So especially who those people are, I suppose. I'm saying, because you want to be having the wisdom to pursue enlightened self-interest, which is all about helping powerful people from the perspective of doing good to help them and having this being in our best interests, or even, I suppose, of pursuing altruism, and initially, I suppose, not expecting anything in return, but more enjoying working to help powerful people as a work in progress who can evolve and develop into someone else. When you're first starting out, powerful people might want the obligation of enlightened self-interest, of being expected to help you in return until you have thoroughly impressed them, I suppose. So rather than expecting things, you instead want to be having the perspectives of altruism as a good and loyal friend, to be able to help powerful people and to not be expecting anything in return until you've been able to first thoroughly impress them as a good and loyal friend with good intentions and a big heart. So I do think that this is a fascinating topic, I suppose I'm saying. So for analysis, I suppose, so exposure, which is your exposure and influence of powerful people and powerful decision makers, I suppose. So this counts for a whopping 60% of your career development success, I suppose. Yet most people don't ever engage in this type of activity, probably because they don't think of it, or they don't think they're capable of it, I suppose I'm saying. So they just don't try, I suppose I'm saying. You want to be having the winning strategy where it's most important for you to believe that you belong. So you most definitely have to believe you belong, I suppose. And you need to be working hard to develop your portfolio of work of high value ideas, from thinking about big ideas, I suppose, and doing work, I suppose, to either directly help powerful people from the challenges they face, or even to because you want to be having a portfolio of work which you share with multiple people who even high value ideas which they can appreciate and enjoy, even if they probably wouldn't all be directly related to every single person in the group, I suppose, but more to focus on your most powerful friends, or even to focus on when you learn about big ideas which you can help at, I suppose, and go for those big problems which you believe you add value. In doing so, generate high value ideas for your shared folder or group, I suppose, as a good and loyal friend with good intentions and a big heart. So analysis is, I suppose, that a whopping 60% of career development is determined based upon your exposure and influence of powerful people and of powerful decision makers, I suppose. So you need to you most definitely need to believe you belong. So you don't want to be someone who says you're their biggest fan, because usually powerful people don't want to become friends with their fans, I suppose. But if you say that you're their fan, well, then it puts you in the category of being their fan, rather than being the category of being a prospective friend, I suppose I'm saying. So you want to be treating powerful people just like you treat your best friends, I suppose, and over time they will respond in kind once you've been able to impress them with your quality of work, I suppose. So not to be telling stories or being a conversationalist, but more from actually generating high quality ideas which they value and appreciate, I suppose I'm saying, within your portfolio of work, within your information power. And you also as well want to be as well you also as well want to be becoming a good cause, I suppose. So you can become someone who is a good cause and a novelty, who has potential and who can possibly start as a work in progress. You don't have to be perfect at the start. It's more just about starting these friendships as a work in progress from the perspectives of your evolution, I suppose. So you start as a work in progress, as someone who they mightn't, you probably might be able to have high value ideas from the start, which they will be able to want and enjoy. If you're able to market yourself from the perspectives of being a work in progress who has good, as being a work in progress who has good potential, I suppose, well then they're able to then become someone who they can then think about becoming good friends with, I suppose I'm saying. Or possibly you can maybe start off with so about trying to work out who to be having as your powerful friends, because if you start too small, I suppose, those powerful friends probably wouldn't have much capabilities to help you, I suppose, if you needed help, I suppose. If you do need a lot of help, it's important from powerful friends, it's important to start with very powerful friends, I suppose, but to do so as a very, very good and loyal friend. And also, I suppose, if you find very powerful friends who have fallen on hard times, they can be ideal people to help, I suppose, because when people do fall on hard times, their Edwin or Edwina friends, who are their friends for good times, I suppose, do drop them, I suppose, as a liability, I suppose, and nothing more to do with them, I suppose. But their true friends work hard to, once they help them, better backwards, I suppose, to help them, I suppose, because when you help a friend in need, they become a friend for life, I suppose. So it can be quite wise, I suppose, to always be on the lookout, I suppose, for powerful people who have fallen on hard times, I suppose, as a way to demonstrate being a good and loyal friend who's there for them in their time of need, who works hard to help them, I suppose, to overcome their challenges, from bending over backwards to help in the time of need, I suppose I'm saying. Because that's a way for people to learn who their true friends are. That is those, I suppose, who are willing to help them and bend over backwards to help them when they fall on hard times, I suppose. So you want to be someone who works hard, I suppose, to build powerful, high quality, long-term friendships built to last with powerful people as a good and loyal friend with good intentions and a big heart. And for the conclusion, it is, I suppose, that the P.I.E acronym for Career Development of Performance Image Exposure is a very important acronym for guiding your strategy, I suppose, for career development, especially for those who are able to focus on exposure to powerful people and powerful decision makers that's I suppose their connections power via their information power, and especially I suppose via also via creating informative information within your information power, which is written in an informal and persuasive way, informal way, I suppose, to add high value as a trusted advisor, to then persuade them not via your rhetoric. So rhetoric can still be okay as a way to justify and show the value of good ideas via logic. But I do think what's far more important, I'm saying, is to be persuasive, not because of your use of rhetoric, but instead be persuasive because of your use of big ideas to be helping people, helping powerful people with the problems they face. So not because of rhetoric, but more as a trusted advisor because of the quality of your ideas to them. So this is my information on P.I.E, which is performance. That's your work performance, your image, which is your branding and reputation, and 3, which is your exposure to an influence of powerful people and key decision makers. So I do think that it can be a very, very useful way, I suppose, to pursue these ideas as a trusted advisor from the perspectives of begin with the end in mind. That's right, you won't be using Stephen Covey's very powerful principle of begin with the end in mind. So obviously it can still be a work in process, and how you get there, I suppose, may vary, I suppose, or even what you start to begin can then evolve into something completely different, I suppose. But you still want to be having a reasonably thoughtful begin with the end in mind, I suppose I'm saying. And even for people, I suppose, so for, say, students in primary school and high school, or even in kindergarten, I suppose, they can be starting their life, I suppose, as a good and loyal friend who's always looking for opportunities with which to demonstrate attractive qualities which work teams do highly value, I'm saying. So when you do apply for work for your job or for a promotion, I suppose I'm saying, there usually is interviews, I suppose I'm saying. In interviews, I suppose, the recruiters do oftentimes ask you lots of behavioural questions as a way to demonstrate your character, I suppose, and also to demonstrate your suitability to the workplace, I suppose I'm saying. Those people who, so some people may be dodgy and they may try to adjust what actually happened, I suppose, from the perspectives of trying to make what they do or did sound better than it actually was, I suppose, from trying to, a bit like how a Hollywood film can at times be creating a stylised account of events rather than always being 100% factual, I suppose. So you want to instead be someone who is 100% factual, I suppose, because when you are actually in the experience with which to show your good qualities, I suppose I'm saying, you're thinking about how you'll be describing it when you're being interviewed in a work interview, I suppose, is a way to be a good and loyal friend who's very helpful and thoughtful because you're doing good and also looking for opportunities to do good as a good and loyal friend, so you can be applying this knowledge to future job interviews, I suppose, I'm saying. So you really do want to become a 100% professional, I suppose I'm saying, who views your entire life from in kindergarten, primary school, secondary school, I suppose, or even educating your kids, been doing the same, I suppose, so that when you get to your important job interviews or important promotion interviews, I'm saying, you can be using your experience of your day-to-day happenings, whereby you never are someone who just settles or says, I'm too tired to try. You always do work hard to make an effort and to demonstrate very honourable qualities which employers and work teams do highly admire and value, I suppose, because you're able to be a true professional, I suppose, who does good, I suppose, from the perspective of you're doing good to help others and to do your job better, I suppose, from perspectives of enlightened self-interest, whereby through doing good and helping people and doing your job well, I suppose, this then is in your best interest, I suppose, because your employer will be very impressed with your work, I suppose. So your employer will be very impressed with your work, I suppose, and you can also be talking about this in your interviews, I suppose, while describing yourself as a zealot whose work is an obsession, I suppose I'm saying. So you want to be ideally joining teams which are success cults, which are full of, which are with the team members being zealots whose work is an obsession, I suppose. So you want to, because I do think that the people, say the 5 to 10 people who we spend the most time with each week do have a powerful influence on who we are and who we become, I suppose. So you want to be spending time with powerful people, or even, I suppose, listening to powerful radio, I suppose, or listening to or even, I suppose, maybe joining masterclass and doing masterclass, or listening to Bloomberg radio, I suppose. It's a way to be having these powerful people who you can. So I don't do it anymore, but I used to highly enjoy Bloomberg radio, probably about 20 years ago, I suppose. Bloomberg radio really is off the scales impressive, I suppose I'm saying. And I haven't yet joined Masterclass, but I may want to, I suppose I'm saying, because I have heard that Masterclass really is an off the scales impressive way to learn about key ideas, I suppose I'm saying, especially from the perspectives of co-creation, I suppose, whereby we don't know it all, I suppose, and we also don't absorb the knowledge like a sponge, but more we're able to intelligently co-create with the presenter by pausing the video to add comments when we think that we have something useful to add, I suppose, as a way to co-create, I suppose I'm saying. So I do think that, I think that even, I suppose, is a impressive festival called Pause Festival, I suppose, which I think does possibly relate to when you watch a video and you pause the video, I suppose, as a way to be able to add contemplative and high quality ideas, I suppose, to the video from the perspectives of co-creation, because you don't want to be a sponge who absorbs knowledge. You instead want to be a co-creator with a very wide association span, I'm saying. So you're able to link in powerful ideas. So rather than always being 100 on top, you want to be linking in useful ideas, I suppose, and just seeing where things lead, I suppose, as a good and loyal friend, I suppose, with good intentions and a big heart, who's there to help powerful people we interact with, I suppose, via videos, I suppose, via Bloomberg Radio, via possibly, I do think I want to be joining Masterclass eventually. I do think Masterclass sounds awesome to me. Very impressive, I suppose. But also, as well, is powerful information from Blinkist, I suppose. But I used to have. I don't have any more. But I used to have Blinkist, I suppose, years ago, I suppose. It also was high value, I suppose. I'm saying it's a way of getting access, I suppose, to the meanings, access to summaries of books. So rather than to read the whole book, I suppose, you can instead listen to a micro summary of the book, I suppose, in about, say, 15 minutes per book, I suppose, which is a great way to get a good summary, I suppose, of a whole variety of very useful books via micro. And also, as well, another useful thing is you can also even be looking up the Wikipedia page on the book, I suppose, as a way to be reading the information from the book's Wikipedia page. So I do think that micro learning, which is learning, just rather than having to read through a whole book, I suppose, you're able to instead be just getting the key points, I suppose, via a summary, via lots of different micro learning initiatives, I suppose I'm saying, because it's just a way of possibly doing multiple micro learning projects per day, I suppose, as a lifelong learner who understands the importance of continuous learning, I suppose I'm saying. So being a lifelong learner who welcomes feedback, I suppose, and who also does begin with the end in mind and uses P.I.E, which is performance, image, like your brand reputation, exposure, which is your exposure and influence of powerful people and powerful decision makers, I suppose I'm saying. So I do believe that that P.I.E, I suppose, is a great way, I suppose, especially when you're able to use all three together from the perspectives of creating your portfolio of work, which is your information power combined with your good cause power and your work each day, I suppose, and also even to be volunteering on new projects from the perspectives of learning new skills, and especially from the perspectives of being able to create more high quality work to be adding to your information power, I suppose I'm saying, because People who are simplistic only do work which is in their job description, only do work which they get paid for. But people who are wise, I suppose, have the insight and intelligence, I suppose, with which to be getting very strategic about their career, be able to be finding ways to powerfully upgrade their current security clearance, I suppose, from working on big topics, I suppose, which are beyond their current security clearance level, I suppose, in doing so, getting their current security clearance to be massively raised, I suppose, as a way to give information with which to be able to help working at these projects which are beyond their current security clearance. But otherwise, if you're only working within your current security clearance, it can be hard if your current clearance to rise, I suppose. If you're working on projects beyond your current security clearance, well then it gives the intelligence organisations the want, I suppose, to be able to raise your current security clearance. So I do think that performance image, which is your brand reputation, and exposure, I suppose, which is your influence to powerful people or decision makers. You want to be having a informal approach. So rather than being someone who always keeps on topic and someone who is boring, I suppose, you want to be having personality, I suppose, and having the wisdom to be sharing high quality ideas as a good and loyal friend with good intentions and a big heart in a very informal way, which is enjoyable to hear, I suppose, especially because it's informal. We do a lot prefer when people talk in an informal way to break down barriers, I suppose I'm saying, rather than being very formal, I suppose, which kind of is a bit sterile, I suppose, and does kill the emotional bond. You want to be creating a powerful emotional bond through informal communication, especially from viewing people like you view your friends as a good and loyal friend with good intentions and a big heart, as a way to be using this PI, which is performance image exposure, to be able to powerfully grow your career, I suppose, from beginning with the end in mind, from getting strategic about your career. Love always.